All right. So I would like you to get yourself comfortable sitting maybe on your rolled up blanket, make it into a little bit of a sausage, maybe sit on something like a cushion if you're in your lounge and you've got one to hand. Just maybe something to give you just a little bit of elevation. First sit of the day often means that our hips aren't quite as open as they would be towards the end of the practice. And so we need to take account of that and not be too kind of forceful of anything that we're going to kind of put our bodies through quite so quickly. So I'm glad to see you're all making yourself nice and comfortable. And so I thought we would start by maybe just making sure your sit bones are balanced. So those of you that practiced yesterday, this is really familiar territory. So balance the sit bones, balance your weight between these sit bones and allow yourself to be grounded, to be settled, but then allow the rest of the body to be light and to be spacious and to be lifted. And we'll just start with a little bit of movement. So take your fingertips to the floor or down by your sides. Take a bit of a breath in and reach the arms all of the way up. And as you breathe out, bring the hands down in front of your heart space. And we're going to do that 2 more times. So breathe in. And breathe out. One more time, breathing in. And out. Perfect. Okay, so from here, just a little bit of a side bend. Put one hand on the floor over by your side, reach the other arm up and over. As you gently breathe out, return that arm and then place it on the floor. And as you breathe in, take the other arm up and over, reach into the side body. Breathing out to come back and place the hand down. We'll go from side to side again. Don't be surprised if you're a little bit stiff, a little bit achy in the mornings. Maybe your bones are feeling tired. Maybe your lower back is sore. This is all quite normal given the situation that we're in and the uncertainty and the worry that's linked to it. But if we can stay consistent with our yoga practices, which when we're practicing in our own home and we're used to that happening, we're going to be so comfortable with doing this. This is your last one. So comfortable with doing this practice at home that it will become hopefully a normal that you can then return to again and again to give yourself balance and comfort. Okay, so we've just done a little bit of moving just to make sure we're nice and comfortable so that then you can then readdress your seat. Sitting it evenly on your sit bones, rest of your body nice and loose, nice and free, okay? Hands into your lap, and I'd like you to close your eyes. And just soften the gaze behind your eyelids and make sure that the forehead is soft and your jaw and your shoulders are relaxed as much as they can be. And you're breathing in and out of your nose. As you breathe in, your breath is travelling down beyond your ribcage to the bottom of your belly. And as you breathe out, the belly draws in slightly. As you breathe in again, same practice as yesterday. I want you to lift your pelvic floor, please, and hold your breath for a count of 2. Then keep holding the pelvic floor, but breathe out. And relax the pelvic floor at the end of the exhale. So again, breathe in. Lift the pelvic floor and hold the breath for a slow count of 2. Then exhale gently, but keep holding the pelvic floor lifted and release it at the end of your breath. Do this again. Breathe in, lift and hold the breath. Breathe out, keep holding, and then relax at the end. Good. So let's just take some easy breaths. Okay. And then we're going to reverse it. So we're going to lift the pelvic floor at the end of the exhale. So I'd like you now to breathe in. Breathe out. And as the bottom of the exhale rise, I want you to lift the pelvic floor and hold the breath for 2. Keep holding the breath as you breathe in. And then release as you breathe out. Good. Hold the breath out and lift the pelvic floor again. Hold for 2. Breathe in. Keep holding. And then exhale, release the pelvic floor, release the breath. Good. Hold the breath out of your body for a count of 2. Breathe up the pelvic, lift the pelvic floor. Keep it lifted as you breathe in. Release it as you breathe out. Good. Back to the first set, another set of 3. Breathing in. Hold the breath inside your body and lift the pelvic floor for a count of 2. Keep it lifted as you breathe out. And then release. 2 more times. Breathe in. Hold the breath for 2. Lift the pelvic floor. Keep the pelvic floor lifted as you breathe out. And release. 1 more time. Breathe in. Hold and lift. Keep lifting. Breathe out. Good. And release. Well done. Okay. Couple of easy breaths. If you need to change your seat, you can do. Last round coming up where we reverse it. So taking a breath in, breathing out, lifting the pelvic floor at the end of the exhalation and holding the breath for 2. Keep holding the pelvic floor up, breathe in, release as you breathe out. Hold the breath out of your body and lift the pelvic floor. Breathe in, keeping pelvic floor lifted. Then release. 1 more time. Hold the breath out and lift the pelvic floor again. Keep it lifted now as you breathe in. And then release as you breathe out. Good. Okay, so keep your eyes closed for a little bit longer if you can. Stay in this lovely seated position and just breathe in and out. Noticing any change in the energy field of your body, maybe how you're feeling in general, maybe you feel a little bit warmer. The pelvic floor lifts are really good for generating heat, but they are such a standard element of our yoga practice for holding us steady. And we're going to need to be held steady because in today's class we're going to work towards King Dancer Pose, Natarajasana, and variations along the way towards it. And King Dancer Pose is a back bend and it's a balance. So 2 of the things that create quite a lot of fear in our bodies generally. We're quite afraid of back bends. They make us nervous, they make us feeling unsteady, and they open up the front of the body, which we're really good at doing the opposite of. We're really good at shutting the front body down. So keep breathing, keep the Ujjayi breath now, just breathe gently in and out, and encouraging an exhalation, a lengthened exhalation, please. And so I thought I'd give you my Easter sermon, my Easter variation on this, because it's so interesting when we look at the poses and we look at their kind of, if you like, their religious or their historical significance. So for those of you that have never come across this before, this might be interesting. So Nataraj is a form of Shiva. So in the Hindu deities, Shiva is the destroyer, and he is an essential part of life, because in order for rebirth, for renewal, there has to be death. And this, once we understand this and we accept this, we can start to settle perhaps how we feel about our place, our own existence. And so Shiva has changed his form to the dancer, to Nataraj. And Nataraj is depicted often as banging a drum. And he bangs the drum every time an age passes by. So not a lifetime, not some insignificant, just one human being's life, but a whole age. And he bangs this drum quickly to signify that there is age after age after age. And when we think about our little part of the age that we are in now, we realize that not only are we quite small, we're not necessarily insignificant, but we are just a tiny little bit of that age. But also that we then start to think about all the things that we find difficult or tricky. And yeah, we call this that we understand this as we call this our samsara. Okay, this cycle that we are in at the moment is this birth and then life and then death, and this cycle, this samsara, keeps on going, and potentially there is reincarnation, just as Jesus was reborn and comes back to life at Easter. So this is kind of my little tenuous link to a bit of religion, if you like. But the wonderful thing that I love about the Nataraj image is that Nataraj is standing on a dwarf. And this dwarf is being squashed by this brilliant, massive, godlike man. And the dwarf represents the trivialities of life, the washing machine breaking down or technology not working, but also bigger things as well, like sickness, like health, like well-being, all of those things that form our worries and our concerns. But Nataraj is standing upon them because he's not going to let them get in his way, and he wants to stand above it. He wants to see around everywhere. And that's what our yoga practice teaches us, that in the dancer pose, when we're standing on one leg and back bending, two of the things that create so much unsettledness and fear in our bodies, that we have the capacity to find a pathway through it. And when we do, that is yoga. That's what yoga means. Okay, so to unite, to bring us together, to make us whole on an individual level, as well as within the universe or the multiverse, whatever you want to call it, that we are in. Okay, so little lesson aside, but that is the background for Natarajasana, a king dancer pose. And so maybe we can think about that a little bit when we come to explore it later. Okay, so come and have a lie down, please, everybody. So lie on your back. And just, you might want your strap, so have that somewhere where you can reach it, please. Just going to have a look at you all. Good. Okay. All right. So just have your strap to hand, and just for a moment, just lie on your back and have a little wiggle around. Do some shuffling. Do whatever you need to do to feel nice and comfortable on your mat. Okay, your back body even, legs feel even, body feels balanced and symmetrical. That's the idea. Okay, so we are going to, on your next inhalation, sweep your arms up and over your head. And I'd like you to link your fingers and turn your palms inside out and press the heel of your hands away from you along the floor. If your hands are touching the floor, great. If they're not, don't worry, don't force them down. I also want you now to bring your ankles together, please, and to flex your feet. So your toes are pointing up towards the ceiling, the heels are lengthening down towards the end of your mat. The heels of the hands are going in the opposite direction. I want you to put as much length and as much space into your body as possible. Keep breathing here. Please don't hold your breath. And just stay here for another few breaths. Really press through the heels, press out through the hands. Good. And on your next inhalation, gently take the arms all of the way up into the air. Release the fingers, and as you breathe out, release the toes. Let them fall out to the sides. Bring the arms down by your sides. And enjoy that little bit of release, that little bit of softness that may well be created in your body. Okay, so now let's take the right knee in towards your chest and give it a little bit of a squeeze. Take your strap, or you could just hold on to your leg or your foot. You don't actually need a strap unless you want one. You could take the strap around the ball of the foot comes straight up to the ceiling. I want you to keep the left leg energized, the left heel away, toes up. And I'd like you to draw the right leg closer towards your body and release it away from you a little bit. Try and keep the leg straight if you can. If you do need to bend the knee, that's okay. Please don't force your body to do anything it's not quite ready to do yet. So just do a couple more of these, breathing the leg closer in towards you and then moving the leg a little bit away. Keep the back body nice and balanced, shoulders as relaxed as you can. And last one. Okay, so now just hold the strap with the right hand only and take the left arm back alongside the ear and just really reach the left fingertips away and the left heel away. So you're putting all that lovely length into the left hand side of your body and draw the right leg a little bit longer in. So this is, whilst we've got the leg in the wrong direction, when we come to stand up in a moment or two to do this Natarajasana, this is very similar. We're going to be standing on one leg and have the other arm up in the air, and we're going to be balancing. Okay, so gently soften, release the right leg, give the knee a little bit of a squeeze in towards your chest, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So give the left leg a squeeze, lengthen out through the right foot, press the right heel away, toes up into the air. Take the strap, take it around the ball of the left foot, or you could just hold on to the back of the leg. You don't actually need the strap if you haven't got one. And you're going to gently do the same thing. So breathe the leg in and out. Be kind to yourself, be gentle. Just take it easy. Okay. Notice if there's any difference between the sensation on this leg compared to the other side. Nice. And then draw the leg in towards you, hold it there, hold the strap with the left hand, take the right arm alongside the ear and press away from you through the right foot and reach the right fingers up alongside the ear, reach away from you in opposite directions as you keep drawing the left leg in towards you. Very nice. Just stay here for another breath. And then gently release. Take the strap away to the side for the moment. Good job. Bend both knees, hug both knees in towards you. Have a little rock from side to side. We're going to take a little twist before we come up to sit. So I want you to keep hold of the right knee, stretch the left leg, extend the left leg away from you. Take the left hand onto the left knee and then keeping the right arm relaxed, right shoulder on the floor. Maybe you could take a cactus arm position, so that's bending the right elbow if you want, and then just rolling the knee across to the left. Maybe looking towards the right with your gaze, not forcing the leg down, not forcing the twist, but keeping the shoulders relaxed and breathing into the sides of your body. Okay. And then when you're ready, breathing in and coming back up to center, and we'll swap sides. So left leg in, hold it with the right hand, take the left arm out, maybe a cactus arm for the left, and rolling the knee across to the right. And again, just taking your time, not forcing the body. Instead, go with the breath. Stay here for another breath or two. Good job. Then come back to the center, please, everyone. And you're going to maybe just bend the knees and bring the heels in towards your body. Feet and ankles about hips width apart. And I want you to lift your hips up off of the floor. And this time, let's take the hands behind the back body. Maybe roll the shoulders towards one another. Get as much height through the hips as you can. Chin to, or chest towards the chin, pressing into the soles of the feet. Staying nice and high with the front of the hips. Do not let the hips collapse. So hold this here for another 2 breaths, please. Very good. And then gently release the hands and slowly come back down. Okay, so can you take both feet up towards the ceiling? And just think about your lower back being quite flat into the floor. If you can sort of keep it flat, that's great. We're going to do some leg drops. So if your lower back begins to arch, that means that you're losing the control from your abdominals. So once the lower back begins to arch, that's when you stop the descent of the feet, okay? If you can get your feet all the way down to the ground, brilliant, but don't let them touch the floor. Just let them hover an inch or 2 away from the ground. Another alternative here, or an alternative, is to do alternate legs. So in fact, we'll start with that and then we'll bring both legs in. So have your hands down by your sides. Press up through the heels towards the ceiling. Take a breath in. Press the lower back into the floor. And as you breathe out, maybe lift the pelvic floor a little bit here. And see if you can drop the legs. Sorry, I've totally forgotten to do alternate. So point your toes, bring your feet back up, and then flex the ankles again. Okay, let's do right leg this time. So breathe in, lower back flat, keep the ankle flexed, and drop the right heel down towards the ground. And then point the right toes and bring the foot back up, flexing the ankle at the top. The other side, exhaling, left leg down. Point the toes, breathe in, come back up to the ceiling and flex. If you feel strong and you want to do both legs, you are very welcome. If you are happy sticking with alternating legs, please go for it. Please stop at a pace that suits you. And if you're noticing your lower back is arching, then you must kind of re-engage your tummy muscles. Keep the lower back flat onto the floor. I love that there's lots of feet being coming right down into cameras. It's great. Okay, just do this 1 or 2 more times. If you're alternating, make sure that you've alternated equally, please. Good job. Okay, and then let's hug the knees in towards the chest and have a little rock from side to side. Super stuff. And then we will bring the feet back down onto the mat again. Back into a little bit of bridge pose again. So let's have the feet and ankles hips width apart, the heels in towards the bottom. And then when you're ready, pressing up towards the ceiling through the front of the hips, linking the fingers together underneath the back body, rolling the shoulder blades towards one another, lifting up high onto the shoulders, pressing into the soles of the feet. And just see whether those leg lifts, whether that abdominal work has benefited the bridge pose sensation. Maybe you can feel a little bit more length now because you've got that enjoyable stretch happening after the contraction of your abs. Good job. Take another breath in here. And then on an inhalation, just slowly, slowly with control, lower the hips back down. And as you exhale, bring the knees in towards your chest. And then we are going to hold the back of the thighs. And we're going to bring the chin to the chest. And you're going to rock up and down your spine. Now, if this is not for you, then just come to the side and come up to sit. But if you can get a bit of momentum, do a couple of 3 rocks and then come up to sit and hover. Hover your feet off of the floor, hold onto the backs of your legs, drop your shoulders, lift your navel in towards the spine, lift the sternum. And you could stay here in an Ardha Uttanasana, half boat pose. Some of you might want to carry on holding onto the back of the legs. Don't worry if you're wobbly. Some of you might want to let go. You could reach the fingertips forwards, keep lifting up the front of the chest, lifting up the feet. Good. And then some of you might want to go for straightening the legs. Just go at your own pace, go with what you feel you want your practice to be this morning. Keep breathing, keep lifting it away from the ground. Remember, if we've got that steadiness, that balance that comes from the certainty our sit bones are balanced, then we can grow away from the floor. Good job. Cross the ankles and gently fold yourself forwards into an easy forward seated forward fold. Okay, so rolling yourself forwards even more, come over onto all fours. Nice. So you want to have yourself maybe near the top of your mat now. We're going to work through a little sequence. We're going to build up some more heat in the body and just start to get some of the big muscle groups working nice and hard for us. Okay, so take an inhalation here. And as you exhale, round your back body into a cat stretch. Lift the navel up, let the shoulder blades spread. Then tucking under your toes, take an inhale and lengthen through front body as you come into cow. And as you exhale, move the bottom back towards the heels and unravel the backs of the legs and come up into downward dog. Pause here for a breath. Just lengthen the back of the legs, lengthen the arms, no pressure here. And then inhale, knees down to the ground. Untuck toes, press tops of the feet, round into a cat stretch again. Inhale, tuck the toes into cow, so same sequence. Exhale, bottom back into downward dog. Let the head hang in between the arms. Pause here again. Take a breath, enjoy. Then inhaling, knees come down. Untuck your toes, round your back body, cat stretch. Inhale, cow, tucking under the toes. Bottom backwards, exhale, unravel the backs of the legs. This time we're staying here for 5 breaths. So you can take some time to maybe pedal the heels, but don't spend too long doing that. Think about settling the pose, feeling the balance between the hands and the feet. And the lift from the sit bones right in the middle, letting the head drop. Then if you like, you can look towards your navel here. This is your drishti in downward dog. Okay, so one more breath. Very nice. Then looking towards where your hands are, just walk your feet forwards, please, towards the top of your mat. Have your feet about hips width apart. If you have bricks, you could put your hands on them, so you could stand them on their ends, and we'll take an Ardha Uttanasana, so we're in a half forward fold. Now ordinarily, if you've got bricks, then great. If you haven't, then put your hands on the top of your shins, just underneath your knees. And think about lengthening, lifting your heart, but lengthening the crown of your head in one direction, your tailbone in the other, and maintaining a little curve in your lower back. Draw the navel up in towards your spine, and use this pose as generating some heat in your body and starting to open up even more space in the back of the legs. Good. You're going to take one more breath here. And then bending the knees on the exhalation, gently fold yourself downwards towards the mat. Let your head hang, let the hands release to the floor. And just hold this here for a breath. Hold this here, lengthening up lifting up the sit bones to your own measure, but remember, no force, no strain, just being with where we're at this moment in time, being comfortable with that, being confident with that, knowing that that's the right place for us to be. Again, let your head drop, chin towards your chest. Okay, so then on your next inhalation, begin to unwind, unravel, come up to stand. And bring your hands together in front of your heart. Good. Okay, so close your eyes. Grounding down equally, evenly through the feet. We have this wonderful opportunity now to connect with the earth, to feel our heart beating behind our hands, and just to remember how fortunate we are for everything that we are able to do, and for everything that we have in our lives. And I read a lovely quote the other day. It said something along the lines of, and I might have it a little bit wrong, so forgive me if I have, but it's your wealth, your riches should be counted in all of the things that you haven't had to buy, all of the things that you that are around you, that you know, all your friendships, all your families, all the love that you have in your life. That is the measure of how rich you actually are. So with that in mind, with people in mind, maybe think about dedicating your practice to someone other than yourself, whilst also remembering why it is that you are here today. What is it that you want from your practice? Okay, so then opening your eyes, taking an inhalation and lifting the hands up above your head. As you exhale, gently fold down and come towards the ground. Let the head hang again. Halfway lift, breathe in. Put the hands on the floor and either walk or jump or step your feet back into a plank position. First plank, shoulders over the wrists. Knees come down to the floor, take the bottom back and swoop the chin and the chest through the hands, and hands alongside the rib cage. Press the tops of the feet into the floor, lift up into a cobra. Come down, lift up to hands and knees, find a downward dog please, and let yourself just rest there for a moment or two. Breathe, draw the navel in towards the spine. That's lovely, everybody. Okay, one more breath. And then right foot lifted up towards the sky. Step it up towards your right, towards your hands. Drop your left knee onto the ground, just as we've done already. So bring your hands onto the knee or just above your knee, and then lengthen your tailbone to the ground. Lift the front of your heart and straighten your arms. Feel that nice stretch in the front of the left hip or thigh. We're going to need this. We're going to need this for dancer pose. You can take a little bit of a lunge as long as you're not losing the integrity that's happening here in your lower back. Good job. Come up out of it a little bit, bring the hands towards the floor, lift up the back knee, and just enjoy that extra long stretch into the hips before stepping the feet forward, the foot forward, coming into Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold, and breathing out, gently folding down. Inhale, hands come up, bring them above your head, and then exhale, hands down by your sides to stand and pause for a moment. We'll do the other side. Okay, breathe in, hands lift up. Breathe out to fold down. Uttanasana. Half forward fold, breathe in. Hands to the floor, step or walk your feet back. You can jump if you feel comfortable. You can either do the sweeping, so knees down, bottom back, sweep through, or we're going to bring in a little bit of 8-limb position, so you could bring your chin and your chest to the floor. Then legs come back, upper body lifts up, cobra pose. Good, coming down, hands and knees, tucking under your toes, and pausing again, Adho Mukha Svanasana, head down. Let's hang the chin towards the chest and lift the sit bones. Draw the navel in. Press into the index finger and thumb side of your palms and wrap your shoulder blades around the back of your ribcage. Press the heels towards the ground, anchoring you down. Take one more breath. Good. Let's take left foot up to the sky. Step it up towards your hands. Drop your right knee. Lift up onto the thigh. Remember, knee above the ankle. Tailbone down, front of the hips lift up. Start to feel something happening in the front of the right thigh and hip. Arms lengthen so the chest lifts up, and you can take a deeper lunge, but you've got to keep the sides of the waist long and not create a back bend. You don't want to accentuate the back here. You want to get the stretch for the front of the right leg and hip. Good, lift up out of it a little bit, bring the hands down to the floor, back leg stretches back, front knee bends. Nice, and step forwards to Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Breathe out to gently hang down a moment, then inhale, come all the way up. Good, straight back down, exhale. Halfway lift, inhale. Step or jump your way back into a plank. Do what you feel comfortable with. Either knees back to swoop, knees chin chest, or you could come into a chaturanga. Those that want to can come into an upward dog. Arms nice and long, chest pressing forwards, legs firm. Then with soft knees, come into a downward dog, everybody. And hang here for a moment, breathe. Good. Take your time. Find the balance of softness with effort. Settle the breath. Okay, so let's take right foot up behind and step it up towards your right hand. Bring the left knee down again, and this time untuck your toes. Come up, exactly the same. Tailbone down, front of the chest lifting, arms nice and long. See if you can press into the arms, but take the lunge. Good, and then this might not be for everybody, but if you want to, press into the top of your left foot and lift your left knee. Okay, so keep strong from the core of your being. Lift the pelvic floor to hold you steady. Good. And then gently come down. Very nice. Tuck under the back toes. We're going to step back into downward dog. And just even out the sensations within your body. And we'll do the other side. So left foot lifted up to the sky. Step it through to the top. Right knee comes down. Come up. Make sure that you are finding the same position as before. So that same stability. Bit of a lift through the front body, lift to the pelvic floor. You can untuck your toes and just stay here. You don't have to lift the back knee. But if you want to, press into the top of the foot. Fan the back thigh, but then let the hips sink a little bit. So you get that extra juicy stretch. Nice. Chest up, arms long. Good, and then pop the right knee down. Well done. Hands frame the front foot. Step back again to downward dog, please. Just pause here and let that sensation from the right leg maybe to trickle down towards the foot, into the mat, into the earth. Just let yourself rebalance to find some strength, find some stability. Well done, everyone. Remember, if you come into any of the down dogs and you want to rest in child's pose or just take a moment, it's fine. It's all good. This is all your practice. Okay, so then everybody, let's come into downward dog, and we're going to take the right foot up and step it through towards your hands. Balancing warrior this time, so right knee is going to stay above the right ankle, left toes maybe stay lifted, left heel maybe stays lifted. Lift yourself upright, press back through the left leg and bring the arms up. Think about you lifting up from the sides of the hips all the way up to the pinky fingers of your hands. Good. And then making sure you've got room around you. I'm going to step back because I'm too close to the wall. We're going to hover forwards into warrior three, but I'm going to ask you to bring your hands down by your sides like this. And you're going to float your back foot off of the floor and start to find a little bit of a balance. Now the key here is to keep the back of the pelvis level and to show the left hip towards the floor, so not twisting. Crown of the head moves in one direction, foot moves backwards in the other. Very good. And then when you're ready, bending the right knee a little bit and coming up to stand, and I'll give you a break, so put the left foot down onto the floor. And what we'll do is we'll take the body weight into the left foot and we'll reach back to hold on to the right foot. So if you find this a struggle, maybe just use your strap around the top of your foot, maybe be near a wall if you need to use a wall to help you stand. And you could take your arm, your left arm, up alongside your ear and just draw the right heel into the body as much as you can. We're not in dancer pose yet, we're just still doing the prep. So take another breath here and then gently release. Right foot lowers towards the ground. Separate the feet a little bit wider apart than the hips maybe, bend the knees and let yourself hang down towards the floor, chin towards the chest, sit bones lift. Take a halfway lift, breathe in. And then as you breathe out, step or jump your way back into a plank. Good. Find a back bend of your choice, so knees to chest, or you could take a chaturanga into an upward dog. Burn the legs. And then we'll meet in a downward dog. All right, so head hangs again, arms lengthen, look at the spaces in your body increasing. You're doing brilliantly. Rest if you need to rest. Remember, child's pose is always available. Okay, so other side, left foot, sweep it up behind you, step it through to the top of your mat and come up into a balancing warrior. So left knee bend, right leg stretching back, arms lifting up. Okay, so lift from the sides of the waist, lift the front of the hips, point the tailbone downwards, feel that nice big opening on the front of the right hip again. Okay, gently lower the hands. They can come to the hips or be by your sides. I'm going to step back a little bit into the middle of my mat. I'm going to float into a warrior three variation. So you're going to bring the right leg up behind you. The crown of the head out in front. Pressing back through the right foot. And just holding this here. Finding your steady, learning to stand on one foot, knowing that you can put your hands on the floor anytime. Good job. And then gently come back up to stand. Right foot comes down, steady yourself, well done. Breathe. Body weight into your right leg. Reach back for your left foot. Hold the heel towards your bottom to stretch the front of the left thigh and take the right arm alongside your ear. Find something to gaze at in front of you, something at eye level that you can focus on. And use anything if you need to around you to balance. So if you need to be near a wall or a bit of furniture, it's okay, use it. All right, and then gently release. And just stand in mountain pose, stand in Tadasana, and close your eyes. Breathing, settling, body balancing. Feel yourself, body weight distributed evenly between the soles of your feet. And now might be a good time to remember why you're practicing, what you're getting out of this, what it's making you feel like. And you just know that it's going to fuel your whole day. Okay. All right, so we're going to be building up to coming into Natarajasana in just a sec. So for those of you that are maybe unfamiliar with the pose, I will demo it for you in a minute. You might want your strap within easy reach because it might be helpful. We're going to do different variations of it too. But let's get into it first. So let's breathe in, arms come wide enough. Breathe out to fold down to the ground. Halfway lift, breathe in. Hands to the floor, step or jump your way back into a plank. Come into knees, chin, chest or chaturanga, upward dog or cobra. And everybody meet in downward dog, please. Okay, so right foot. Take the right foot up and step it up towards your hands. So this is quite an important variation because we're going to work with a little bit of Ardha Uttanasana and we're going to hold the foot here as well. So I want you to, you can take your right hand forwards. So about, a good few inches in front of your right foot. It doesn't have to be dead in line, it can be out to the side a little bit. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to float your hand off of the floor. So you could use a brick here, but you don't have to. Begin when you're ready to float your left foot off of the ground and start to turn your left toes to point out to the side. You're aiming to stack your left hip on top of your right hip. You could bring your left hand to the side of your waist and start to turn your heart. So again, you are now stacking your hips and your shoulders. If you're able to, I want you to float your right fingertips off of the floor. Even if they're just a few millimeters away from the floor, see if you can hold yourself in this balance. Very nice. And then bring the hand down again. And here you might want a brick to put your hands on. You're going to bend your left knee and you're going to reach back for your left foot. So this might not be available to everybody, but just have a go. And you're going to roll your left shoulder back and press your foot into your hand and find that nice big stretch. Okay. When you are ready, gently release. Bring the right foot to the side of the left foot and hang yourself down and appreciate everything your right leg has just done for you. Good job. Let's slowly roll ourselves up to stand. Good job. Shake it out, right leg. Feeling a little bit warmer now, perhaps. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. I think it's easier to come into variations of Ardha Uttanasana from a lunge. We won't vinyasa through it. We'll just step the right foot back. Lean down the left hand towards the floor. Remember, you could use a brick here to elevate your hand or a book. Put your right hand on your right hip. Use the wall here. Maybe put your foot on the wall if it helps, because it's quite nice as you lift your right foot off of the floor to maybe put your right foot on the wall. So position yourself or use some furniture. Good, see if you can so we're stacking right hip on top of left hip, right shoulder on top of left shoulder. Don't worry if you're wobbly, we're all wobbly. See if you can bring your left fingertips off the floor. And what was easy on one side suddenly becomes insurmountable on the other side, but just keep going. Good. And then you can bring your left hand back down. Remember, a lot with balance is where the gaze is at, so be mindful of where you look. Okay, so bring the foot towards the bottom, reach back and hold the foot, and then see if you can roll the shoulder back and press the foot into the hand to give you that nice big opening on the right hand side. So keep turning the body to the right. Very good. Hold it here, well done. And then gently bend the knee, release. And we'll just bring the foot back down. We're hanging a forward fold again. And then we'll come up to stand. Ooh, good job. Shake it out with your left foot, left leg. Let's just have a quick look at you all. You can see some, yeah, nice shaky legs going on. If you want a sip of your water, sip of your drink, please have that now. Okay, so maybe come and stand in the middle of your mat. Maybe have a wall or a bit of furniture around you just in case. And you've pretty much done dancer pose. So with all the stuff that we've done so far, what we're about to do is just going to be such a breeze because you've done all the prep. I don't mind which leg you do, which leg you stand on, but choose a foot to stand on, choose a leg. Spread out the toes, drag the heel back. And I'd like you to take your body weight into that leg and start to bring the other foot up and behind you. So back to here, we've been here already. You have the option to take the other arm alongside the ear, but commonly the pose is practiced with chin mudra, so thumb and index finger together and the arm out in front. You must keep your shoulders and your hips facing forwards. Please don't twist out to the side. And as you are ready, you can begin maybe to tilt a little bit, maybe to press the foot into the hand, maybe to stretch out the front of the hip and lift the knee. Very nice. Keep going. Stay there. Breathe. Absolutely fabulous. Well done, everybody. Good job. Okay, so let's gently come out and relax. Relax that leg down. Give your right leg or standing leg a shake. Very good. So let's do the other side. Spread out the toes, spread out the ball of the foot. And if you felt wobbly the first side, don't worry, this side might be completely different for you. So just first of all, we ground into the feet. Find your steadiness, find your balance, because this is what we're doing. We're turning all of these things. So far, I've asked you to stand evenly on both feet, to sit on both sit bones, and now you're having to rely on just one. So we've got to, we know that when we do this, when we focus and concentrate the mind, we're able to balance a little bit easier. So find something to gaze at. Concentrate as much as you can, reach back for your foot, take your other arm out in front of you, and it could be that your dancer pose just looks like this. It doesn't have to be anything other than this. You're on one leg, you've got a little bit of a back bend going on. If you want to go further, a tilt begins to happen at the pelvis, and the back knee begins to lift up a little bit higher, pressing the foot into the hand and rolling the shoulder back. But don't force it, just go at your own pace. Well done. Breathe. Okay, and gently release. All right, shake it out of your standing leg. Okay, so because it's quite a nice back bend and because it's quite nice for the shoulders, if you have a yoga strap, I want you to take it into a little loop, just big enough for your foot to get through. If you've got a dressing gown belt, then you could tie a little knot to make yourself a little loop like that. If you haven't got a strap, you can do what we're about to do by just holding onto your foot. You're going to have your arms behind your back like this, rather than your arms above your head. So that's going to be the only difference, okay? So I want you to then take your foot into just around, so can you see that right? So it's just going to look a bit like that. And then the strap is going to go over your shoulder, or the dressing gown belt. So you're looking a bit like this, okay? So the variation on dancer pose now is going to open the chest. It's great for the shoulders. And for those of you who've been practicing with me this week, when we've been doing all these lovely chest openers, shoulder openers, it will play nicely into that. So whatever is your standing foot, just spread it out. Make sure that you feel balanced. And then the other foot's going to lift up behind you. And you're going to take your arms above your head, a bit like this. And you're going to walk your hands down the strap. And as you walk, the back foot lifts up and lifts up and lifts up. And the hands come lower and lower. And you keep the arms close towards the ears. You lift the chest, so don't collapse the gaze, don't collapse the heart. Lift the chest, move the chest forwards, lift the elbows high, and just gently use the strength of your arms to create a slightly different variation. All right, and then gently release. Very well done. So again, we're going to do the other side. So for those of you that are not using a strap or found it difficult with a strap, you're going to have your hands behind your back and you're going to hold your foot with both hands, and you're going to do that variation instead. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do other leg. So use the strap around the other foot. Take the strap over the shoulders. Take the hands behind your head, bending the elbows, walking the hands down the strap, beginning to lift up the back foot. And remember, this is a back bend as well as a balance. So create that nice opening along the front body, because that's what back bends are. Bring the elbows in towards the sides of the head and just see what range you can get. Good job. Wherever you get to, stay there and breathe. Lift the gaze, look forwards. Nice. And then gently release. Woohoo, well done. Okay, so just pop your strap out of the way. Awesome stuff. Okay. So we're not quite finished back bending yet. If you have a blanket or a big thick towel would be better, or a bolster, the yoga bolster. But if you've just got a blanket, then you're going to roll it up into a bit of a sausage like this. If you've got a bolster, that's going to go across your mat like that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is a couple more back bends, and we're going to use the support of this, and then we're going to use the opening that we create to come into Uttanasana, into camel. So first of all, I really like practicing a bit of upward dog with a bolster. So you bring your hands to the floor the other side of your rolled up blanket or your yoga bolster, and you're going to lower the front of your hips onto the bolster. Now it's important not to just let the legs be floppy, so bring the ankles towards one another, and I'd like you to make sure your hands are positioned comfortably, but lengthen up through the arms and take the chest forwards And then lift the knees off of the floor, firming the back of the legs. And so for those of you that have not practiced upward dog yet in the sun salutes, in the vinyasas, then this is a nice opportunity to try it. Good. So then from here, some of you might just want to come down and just lie on the floor with elbows or head comes down. Some of you might want to come into the next back bend. So just take it at your own pace and do what you feel comfortable. You're going to bend both knees and you're going to reach back. So I want you to have something underneath your hips for this, but it's not essential. It's just bow pose. So we always practice bow pose in class without bolsters. However, it's a little bit precarious when you've got something underneath you. So don't worry if you fall forwards. And just see, I want you to try to keep your knees on the floor, if that's okay. So knees stay on the floor, front of the hips and the abdomen are supported, and then press the feet into the hands and just see how high you can lift your chest. So remember, you can practice the bow pose on the ground without your bolster, without your towel. Just lie on your front and hold your feet. Good, very nice. Okay, and then release and just come to lie down. Just lie on your front, make a pillow for your forehead for a moment, and just let your body soften. Maybe wiggle your hips a little bit to release any tension or any tightness in the muscle groups. Okay. So then lifting up to all fours. And I quite like practicing an easy variation of camel pose by taking a bolster or a block or a blanket and just putting it behind on somewhere like this. You could put it on the ankles for even higher height, or you could use a yoga block. You again don't need to use anything. I'll show you it without anything, just for those of you that don't have the props available. So we're going to start by tucking the toes under and just lifting up, and maybe just taking the arms alongside the ears. For some of you that might be enough. Okay, some of you might like a bit of a quad stretch, so maybe just lean back slightly and see how this feels in the front of the thighs. Lengthen the tailbone towards the back of the knees, please. Keep the belly engaged. Very nice. And then gently come out. Okay, so we're going to keep the toes tucked. And what I would like you to do is come back into camel pose evenly. So try to lean back and find the feet. So if you can't find the heels, then you need to put something on them, like a blanket or a block or a book or something, just to elevate them. And then send the front of the hips forwards, lift the chest up and let the head fall back. Good job. Just do what you are able to do. Be kind to your body. So hips forwards, thigh bones forwards, heart up to the sky. Good, then chin towards your chest and gently come down. Maybe come onto hands and knees. I find that that's a bit more gentle. Just gently begin to roll the back body into a cat stretch and then neutralize. Don't back bend here. And again, just take another cat stretch, head dropping, and then back to neutral. One more time, into a little bit of a back bend, a little bit of a flexion for the spine, and then let the bottom drop down towards the heels and come into any variation of child's pose. Hands anywhere you want them to be, and breathe. All right, so let's slowly lift ourselves up. Good job. Okay, so we're going to spend a couple of minutes coming into an inversion of your choice. At your disposal is Repeater Karani, and I know that you're all familiar with that. So that's bottom against the wall, legs up the wall, or just freestyling it in your mat, in the middle of your mat. You could maybe put your blanket, roll up your blanket and put it underneath the back of the hips. Other options is to take a shoulder stand. And if you've got your blanket to hand and you can fold it up, just like we've been practicing in all the classes I've been teaching. Maybe just create a little bit of a platform by folding your mat over your blanket and making sure your shoulders stay on to the folded bit and your head is back down on the flatter, on the lower bit. Okay, so shoulder stand is there, maybe halasana if you want to. Some of you might want to, if you've got, please only do this if I have seen you practice this in class and I know you're going to be able to do this safely, but maybe use the wall, maybe take a headstand or a handstand. So we've done quite a lot with the hands on the floor. We've done a little bit of work to open into the shoulders, but just it's yogi's choice. So whatever you feel like doing, even if it's just legs up in the air. If you don't have a wall space, if you don't have something to support you, then please don't do a headstand or a handstand unless you're super proficient in it, please. So yeah, make sure that you've got the wall. If you want to ask me anything, or if you're not sure, that's why shoulder stands are so good, because they're so versatile. We can do them, we don't need a wall to come up into them. You're all having to think about it. You're all like, oh, I don't know. All of you like, you might just want to have a lie down. We're going to get there in a minute. Okay, so Repeater Karani could just be legs up the wall or legs up in the air. Very nice and soothing for the body. Shoulder stand is sort of the next step up from that. But have a little bit of a play. See if you're hand standing or head standing or even forearm balancing. Some of you, if you practice that with me during the week, we did that I think on Tuesday night. So if you practice that with me on Tuesday and you want to do that again, go for it. Very nice. If you are shoulder standing and you would like to bring your feet behind you for halasana, please go for it. It's quite nice sometimes if you're working towards a halasana, it's quite nice to have behind you your yoga bolster or cushions to bring your toes down onto so that they're not reaching, straining for the floor. Or just using a helpful sofa. I love it. Well done. Good. Okay. So think about gently coming up and out. And those of you that have been inverting, please just lie out flat for a breath or two, please. Be in no hurry to come down and then come back up to sit. All right. Well done, everyone. So let's lie down. Let's hug the knees in towards the chest, please. So hugging the knees in towards the chest. Maybe have a rock from side to side. And we can take the arms to the inside of the legs, reach down for the outsides of the edges of the feet and come into happy baby pose. Keep lengthening the tailbone or the back of the sacrum down towards the ground. And at the same time, draw the knees towards the floor. Good. Then let's release the feet and bring the knees together. And take the arms maybe in cactus, maybe out straight. Just have them out to the side somewhere. Take a breath in. Don't mind which side you go. Just roll the knees across towards one side of the mat. Just let them come down gently. Maybe use your hand to help. Use your hand to anchor. Maybe turn the gaze away from the knees. And just press the pause button. Just breathing gently. Okay. So then taking an inhalation, bringing the knees and the nose up to the center. Just steadying yourself in the center of your mat. And then breathing out and letting the knees rock over to the other side. And again, just taking your time to let your body settle. Okay. Taking a breath in and coming back to the center. Good job. And then begin to slide your legs away from you. And we'll come into a Shavasana. Now, we're going to run over by a little bit. It wouldn't be one of my classes if we didn't run over by a little bit. Timekeeping has never been a strong point of mine. So if you do have to run off, then I'll say goodbye to you now and look forward to seeing you maybe this afternoon at 3 if you can make it, or maybe another time next week, or back to normal scheduled classes. So then those of you that are hanging around for Shavasana, we're just going to be here for a few minutes. And I want you to settle yourself. Make sure that you're warm. Make sure you feel supported. Put something under the knees if you need to. Put a cushion under your head if you like. And just allow yourself the benefit of coming into this final pose, the most important of all the postures, where we just bring everything back together. We've moved, we've explored, we've maybe practiced some things that we don't practice usually, or practice things that we've never practiced before. So let the back of your body settle and spread and release. Feel the head becoming heavy. The legs becoming long. And appreciate this space that you're taking up. Enjoy letting your body take up its rightful space. But then cast your mind back to the image of Shiva as Nataraj, as the dancer. And he just looks exuberant. He looks happy. He's got dreadlocked hair, and the dreadlocks are spinning out from his head because he's dancing. And around his neck is a cobra. And the cobra, because of its venom, its poison, it represents how Shiva has learned how to overcome the poison of the cobra. It doesn't worry him anymore. And he's normally standing on one leg because he's dancing. And he's standing upon this little dwarf who looks really cheeky and naughty, as though it's doing its utmost to disrupt things or to cause disturbances. And Shiva or Natarajasana doesn't worry about that. It doesn't bother him in the slightest. He's like, you want to cause your trouble? I'm going to stand on you. I'm not going to squash you, but I'm just going to stand on you because I am going to rise above you. And I'm going to look around from this higher perspective and remember that we are all part of the dance. Even the cheeky dwarf, even the naughty dwarf, he doesn't want to get rid of him. Doesn't want to get rid of the cobra, the snake around its neck with its poison, but he knows that it's just part of the dance. And he keeps banging the drum. The drum represents another era that has gone, another time. And it reminds us that not to be distracted by the trivial things. To remember that the cycle, the samsara of birth, life, and death is going to carry on indefinitely. And that we are part of that dance. However small, however insignificant we may be, we are part of it. We are part of the whole, part of the divine. We are all divine. And that is what yoga reminds us of all the time, just brings it all back. We are no different from anybody else or anything else. We are all one. Okay, so I'd like you to bring your awareness back into your room or your space. Become aware of your fingers and toes. And turn your head from side to side gently. Take a stretch out any way that feels good for you. And if you are not ready to come out of Shavasana yet, if you want to stay for a bit longer, why not? You're in the comfort of your own home. What bliss to be able to luxuriate for a little bit longer. Those of you that are coming up to sit might like to bend your knees and roll yourself across to one side. And then you can make your way around and come up to sit. All right, well done, welcome back. We're going to finish together. And so I'd like you to sit any way that is comfortable for you. Take your fingertips down by your sides. Take a lovely big breath in and reach the arms up and above your head. And breathe out, bring them down through the center line and leave them to rest there. Maybe close your eyes, relax your jaw, soften your shoulders down. Just take a few breaths in and out here. I'll share with you a final thought. Listen to the music of the soul, with the chords of your heart attuned, with the strings of your thoughts in unison, with the divine musician. Listen to the music of the soul, with the chords of your heart attuned, with the strings of your thoughts in unison, with the divine musician. Namaste. Good job, everybody. So thank you very much for coming and sharing your Easter breakfast with me. If you're off for breakfast now, have a really nice, yummy breakfast. And maybe I will see you a little bit later. Let's come over, let's scoot over to here.